Sports Network mock draft here live at the Gold Sports Performance Center here in Henrico, Virginia, a.k.a. Richmond, wherever you want to call it. They call it the West Side, whatever. We are here for that. I want to thank everybody for tuning in for today's episode. They have a little screaming in the back, but that's what they're doing here, getting trained, getting pumped up, and getting ready for the next level in the NFL. That's why we wanted to have our special here. Now, let me go ahead and introduce you to the wonderful people that are beside me in Charles City Chronicle down there. And
I'm a writer, editor, publisher, whatever you want to call me, I do it.
He does a little bit of everything. And to the other side of Rob, we have Mr. Tyrone Montgomery Jr. Ty is the man, myth, and the legend. He has been a part of the LegacyMaker Sports Network now here since August. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you haven't had a chance to look at the 2 Up, 2 Down report at www.legacymakersportsblogs.com, you need to check it out. Ty's got some really good stuff going on there.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. Now, to his immediate left, I believe that's left. Yes, that would be left. That is Mr. Michael Bish, ladies and gentlemen, from Fox Sports here in Hopewell. That's 1340 AM and 96.9 FM. Make sure you check out his show. Let him know. And Mike, what day does your show come on, sir?
Comes on Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. So make sure you tune in. It's going to be back in the studio. Right now it's not in the studio, but it will be back in the Fox Sports studio here soon. It's going under renovation. But make sure y'all tune in because it's a good one.
All right, now we swing all the way over to our man, Russ Taliaferro, ladies and gentlemen, a.k.a. Stat Man. He's been here with the network since his inception. If you need a stat, feed him numbers. Isn't that right, Russ?
Feed me numbers. I crave numbers.
He craves numbers. Now, look, we want to thank everybody once again for joining us for this. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're very excited. We're going to break this mock draft down the best way we know how. Now, we got a little bit of an order. But before we get into that order, we are missing one of our partners in crime, Mr. Jeremiah Quimby. He was supposed to be here with us tonight, but his brother came across a very tough disease. He's fighting it right now. He's doing a really good job fighting it. And so Denny Quimby out there in Michigan, Bud, love you, man. Take care of yourself. This show is dedicated to you. Jay, I know you're watching, man, so this one is for you. Now, we also want to thank, of course, Dream Pro Productions for being behind the camera for us today. And you'll be able to catch all of this on YouTube a little bit later on, Fancified. Of course, we're going live here on Facebook now. I also like to thank Gold Sports Performance for letting us be here today. Fellas, are y'all ready for the NFL mock draft?
I'm ready for the real draft, too.
Man, ready for the real draft. Now, for those who don't know, the real draft is next Thursday. There's a lot of things that could change from the time that we do this, but we're doing it as it is right now. So, with the first pick of this draft was Mr. Jay Quimby with the Cleveland Browns, and I will do his picks to let you know what's going on from there. Then we have Russ at number 2. He's got the New York Football Giants. I've got the New York Football Jets at 3, and then Rob does Cleveland with number 4. Now, the way we're going to do this, we're going to keep going through on that note. So then we go back to Jay at 5, Russ 6, 7, and 8. So that way you get a pattern. And then we're going to have Ty and Mike bring up some great, interesting points. They're going to be a little bit of our 1-2 punch and let us know what we're doing wrong. All right, so let's go ahead and get this bad boy started with the first pick of this draft. The Cleveland Browns, via Jay Quimby, select Sam Darnold, USC quarterback. And let me tell you something about Sam Darnold. He's something special, and Jay believes that he's the best prospect in this draft at the quarterback position. He thinks that he could be something special. He doesn't have to go and start right off the bat because they have Tyrod Taylor there, and that they think that he'll be able to really do something special there as he gets to develop under Hugh Jackson and the Browns.
I agree. He's my number 1 prospect there in the quarterback class. He won't let you down. He'll put the ball where it needs to be. There's no disagreeing there on my part since I'm going after him now.
Well, now, Russ, number 2, the New York Football Giants, where do they land? Do they get their quarterback of the future?
I think they do. The New York Football Giants at number 2, I have them picking quarterback Josh Allen out of Wyoming. And the reason I have them picking that is because it's a new team. New GM, new coach, they want to run their system. They want their quarterback of the future. So why not pick him now in this quarterback-rich class? He's an athletic quarterback with a strong arm. And if you didn't even know that, here's a stat for you. First one of the night.
Oh, stat man. First one of the
night. First one of the night. He ran the best 40 time of all the top 5 quarterbacks.
Wow.
4.75 at the combine.
And he's 6'5".
Considering Lamar Jackson didn't run a 40 at the combine, still out of the top 5 quarterbacks that are probably going to all go in this first round, maybe he ran the best 40 time.
Well, everybody on this panel pretty much knows how I feel about Josh Allen, and since I'm the one with critique, I don't hate your pick whatsoever. And if it was me and he was sitting here at number 3, I would select him number 3 to the Jets. But since he's not, and you made a good pick for the New York Football Giants, I have the New York Jets taking Baker Mayfield, quarterback, Heisman winner from Oklahoma. I think that this could be a match made in heaven for the New York Football Jets because Baker Mayfield gives you everything that you expect out of a New York quarterback. He gives you spunk, he gives you pizzazz. You're like, oh, this is exactly what we need. He's going to bring flavor, and he's going to bring a toughness. He's deadly accurate. He's got a lot of things that he does need to work on, but I think he could be critical at the next level for the New York Football Jets.
Of course, I'm going to object to you because
No, Rob, no.
I'm not a Baker Mayfield guy. Baker Mayfield only played under center 4.8% of the time. Actually, Lamar Jackson played under center 8.4% of the time, which they say he's not a good quarterback, but he played under center more than Baker Mayfield. Mayfield ran a 4.8, a 4.84 in the 40. Also, I want everyone out there to go back and look at the second half of that Georgia game. When this man is under complete pressure, when this man when he starts to panic, he throws interceptions. When the game was tied, he threw an interception, which ultimately gave Georgia the game. I'm not saying he didn't have a good career. I'm just saying, Darrell, tell me the last time you saw an Oklahoma quarterback that was successful.
Ooh, that's a tough one, sir. We got a few of them that you can name. Jason White.
That's the last one I
Sam
can
Bradford.
I said successful.
Oh, well, we're going to let that one fly then.
Hey, I'll say Sam Bradford's been the most successful at surgeries.
Wow, he went there. Surgeries.
That's not my concern. My concern is play on the field only. I don't care about the surgeries. I don't care about the off-season. Now, with Baker Mayfield, I'll say this as well. He did have some of the off-field issues, grabbing himself on the field, and I kind of see the NFL GMs not taking that into account. And to me, they always talk about red flags. Why are those not red flags?
It's a very interesting point there, but I think with him and this New York Football Jets team, he will be the spot. They like that. They like that attention. It wouldn't surprise me. Now, Mr. Robb, who do you have the Cleveland Browns taking it for?
This is very simple for me. When I talk about leadership, when I talk about on the field, the type of player that you need to change your team, I look at a Minka Fitzpatrick, defensive back, Alabama. The reason I say Minka Fitzpatrick is I compare him to a Charles Woodson. Not saying he's as fast as Charles Woodson, not saying he's as good as Charles Woodson coming out of Michigan. But when you talk about that leadership, when you talk about that ability to not only cover, but to play in the slot, but a guy that can also play your free safety spot, and a guy who can tackle. That's the biggest thing about Minka Fitzpatrick I love so much. He tackles. And here's the thing. He actually made Nick Saban smile. When's the last time you guys saw Nick Saban smile? When is the last time you saw Nick Saban smile? So any guy who can make Nick Saban smile, and plus a guy that works as hard as he does, he becomes the cornerstone for a Cleveland Browns franchise that needs that toughness and they need that leadership. So I'm going to go number 4, Minka Fitzpatrick, the defensive back, Alabama. And next up we have the Denver Broncos.
So Jay decided with the Denver
and
Broncos.
by the way, did you object to the pick?
You know what? No. I mean, I think Minka Fitzpatrick is a pretty solid person there. I don't hate the pick. They need cornerback. Losing Joe Hayden last year was kind of a little bit of a tough deal for them. But if they go Patrick, is not a bad spot. Me personally, I think with them being here, I either would have took Barkley. They may not need Barkley, but you can never have too many offensive weapons, or Bradley Chubb. Probably would have been my decision on that one. But I don't hate Fitzpatrick. You never, exactly.
You're in Cleveland. You need all the help you can get.
All right, now at number 5, Jay had number 5. He had the Denver Broncos selecting, and just spoke about him, Mr. Saquon Barkley from Penn State. You know, this guy was explosive last year. Jay feels like that he is what we call a poor man's Ezekiel Elliott, but he sees a lot of qualities in him that scream Ezekiel Elliott, and so he thinks that John Elway will get his future back here if Denver doesn't trade the pick.
Bad spot for them because they need offensive line help in Denver. Bad spot. You know, when you have offensive line troubles, you have a guy coming in who needs a good offensive line to prosper. Also, you think about the defenses that are in the AFC West. Look at Kansas City. They're always tough. You know Oakland's going to be more disciplined with John Gruden. You guys know the Raiders haven't been disciplined in a few years. The Raiders are going to be disciplined this year. And then you look at the San Diego Chargers, the Bosa, those guys, they're coming. So I just don't like the pick because of the fact that you're going against some very tough defenses. Now, There's some other spots that I would like to see him go because I think he'd have a better time, playing and getting yards. But I'm not a Saquon Barkley guy, but.
Well, I mean, to your point, I would agree because he's definitely going to get cracked in Kansas City. He's going to get tested no matter where he is. Eric Berry hits harder than most people on their best day.
Yeah, I think you could have went either way here. Barkley doesn't hurt, especially losing C.J. Anderson. But I probably would have went Quinn Nelson here. I think you make a good point with the guard situation. Quinn Nelson could have been a really good pickup for this team here. Even a Bradley Chubb, if you're looking at a person who can come in and be that defensive presence.
Well, speaking of Quinn Nelson, segueing.
With the sixth pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, I myself, to me, this is the most no-brainer pick in this situation. The Colts need to protect whoever they have at quarterback.
Whoever.
So at the sixth pick, I have the Indianapolis Colts taking Quentin Nelson, the guard out of Notre Dame. And I mean, you look at it again, another stat for you, Colts allowed 56 quarterback sacks last year. That is the most of any team.
That's crazy.
That's an average of 3.5 sacks for a team coming into each game for them. That is not good.
Now, you look at this Colts team. This Colts team could go anywhere with this pick. I would, at one point during the offseason, I even thought, hey, you know what? They could probably even go quarterback. But now it looks like Andrew Luck, we'll see. But you can't go wrong here. I mean, you can go pretty much anything. They could go Saquon Barkley, they could go Chubb, but I don't hate Nelson. They need offensive line help first.
To that point, I would say take Nelson now because there's still some good sleepers at quarterback. You got Logan Woodside that you can pick up later. You got
Robb Johnson.
Shout out to Rob. I can't remember his name, but it's the kid from Richmond, the quarterback from Richmond.
Kyle Lalota.
I knew that's why I didn't want to say his name too because I'm
I
not
probably destroyed it, and we're sorry, University of Richmond.
But that's why the Colts have to protect whoever they have at quarterback. Nelson was 6'5", 329 with 33 3/4 inch arm length. What are you going to do? A guard. He's very agile in space, so you can pull him out for any kind of run schemes that you have. And even that, I've heard that they can still play him at tackle as well.
Right.
But I would say you want to solidify that guard spot for whoever you have behind the center.
I can't be mad at that. Now, I guess we head on to number 7. Jay, picking for Jay's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I get the dubious honor of doing that. And you know what? You got the best defensive player on the board left. I think you got to go best defensive player on the board, and I'm going to pick Bradley Chubb, defensive end from North Carolina State. Chubb is a game changer. Von Miller himself said, this is a Von Miller quote, said that Chubb is a combo package of him and Khalil Mack. You're talking about the MVP of Super Bowl 50 and last year's, the year before last, Defensive Player of the Year. 2 studs, and if Bradley Chubb can be a hit of those two, man, well, Tampa Bay's going to have something special there with Bradley Chubb.
Well, first of all, he's not a linebacker, but he has linebacker qualities. Let me say this. Bradley Chubb is the most talented guy I've seen come in the NFL. Now, you have Mario Williams that came in from NC State. He's better than Mario Williams. He's going to be the next Julius Peppers. He's the best player I've seen since Julius Peppers, bar none. This guy is athletic. He's quick. He takes no plays off. Look at his highlight film. He does not take plays off. Also, he has 1 career interception. This guy, what he does is that he can drop into coverage. Say you got a tight end who's killing you all day. He can drop in coverage. He can cover a running back that's trying to do screens. Because as you know, a team like Green Bay Packers, they do a lot of screens. So a guy like Chubb can be very successful when it comes to that. In 38 games, 194 tackles, 25 sacks, 1 interception, as I said, and 6 forced fumbles. The 6 forced fumbles is what's important.
Yeah, and he is the all-time leader in sacks for NC State. Now we switch to number 8. The Chicago Bears are selecting at number 8, and Mr. Robb Johnson. Where does Chicago go?
I'm going to keep this very simple. When is the last time the Bears had 2 reliable linebackers?
Ooh, Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher.
They have been won since.
It's been a little bit rough.
No.
So we're going to keep this simple, all right? Now, the guy I'm taking is Tremaine Edwards, linebacker, Virginia Tech. Why am I taking Tremaine Edwards? Bud Foster has been at Virginia Tech for 23 years. This is a quote when they were playing Clemson. They were playing Clemson, and Kirk Herbstreit said this right from Bud Foster's mouth. I never He said, I've never seen a guy play like this in my 23 years. That is Bud Foster, who's had some great defensive talent, say, I've never seen a guy play like this in my 23 years. Jermaine Edwards, not only is he fast, he can stop the run, he can go into pass coverage. The only issue I have is that he needs to get his hands better. He needs to do better with his hands against those bigger offensive linemen. In the Miami game, Miami was able to run the ball up the middle because he wasn't able to get off block. But he's coachable. That's the most important thing, is that Jermaine Edwards is coachable. If you're a coachable linebacker, going to Chicago, where they've had some historically great linebackers, I think this is a match made in heaven. This is an easy pick for me. Jermaine Edwards, number 8 pick, going to Chicago Bears.
Now, I will say this about Chicago. Chicago actually had a top 10 defense last year. People don't even realize it. I think they were number 10 in the league. They may have slipped out of it, but at one point they were in that top 10, and all adding Edmonds could just bring another exciting factor to that team.
Edmonds, I'm sorry.
Edmonds. No, you're good. We know what we were talking about. And now we head to number 9. The San Francisco 49ers, and Mr. Quimby's pick for here is Mr. Denzel Ward, and he is the 9th pick here, coming from Ohio State. And this is a really solid pick. A lot of people love Mr. Denzel Ward. Some people say his size is a little bit, here and there, but he's a really solid pick. And I really do think that he could be what they're looking for in San Francisco. But Denzel Ward, Ohio State cornerback, heading to San Francisco.
There's no discussion. He's the best cornerback in the draft. No discussion.
Yeah,
nothing should be said.
Unless you're putting Minka Fitzpatrick at corner, there's no competition.
Yeah, he's the best corner in the draft.
Coming after him, I completely agree. He had the longest broad jump overall combine, 136 inches. That right there shows you, even with his 5'10" height and 190-pound frame, shows you how explosive he can be from a standstill point. His power legs, his tree trunks coming out that big. It's a beautiful
Those tree trunks, baby.
And I'll be personal. I would normally like my cornerbacks more like Richard Sherman.
Right.
6 foot, maybe about 210 pounds, 220, somewhere in between there. But even, like I said, 5'10", 190 pounds, Denzel Ward is too good to ignore. There's no doubt about that.
Awesome. So Denzel Ward heading to San Francisco. It looks like John Lynch is going to get himself a pretty fancy DB. Now we have our last pick of our first session here. Number 10, the Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. Russ, where did the Raiders go with this pick?
Another new coach for another team I'm picking for.
New becomes old again.
Well, new, but same old coach that we've seen before. But the Raiders need help with Khalil Mack. Now, he can provide the pressure, but they need someone to clean up whatever mess he doesn't clean up himself. So that's why with the 10th pick in the draft, I have the Raiders selecting Roquan Smith, the linebacker out of Georgia.
I love that.
Well, here's why also. Because the man is the epitome of a tackle machine. Another stat for you, 137 tackles last year in 15 games. That includes the national championship. That would have been 5th best in the league in NFL overall. That is 53 more than the Raiders' leading tackle last year, who was a cornerback, T.J. Carey, who's not even on the team anymore. That's 59 more than what Khalil Mack had himself. The man will penetrate the hole. Any holes that offensive line opens up, he'll be able to seal it and make sure that running back goes nowhere. And he can still provide pressure from the other side of Khalil Mack as well. So I feel like they have no other choice in this situation.
I would have probably gone B to V there, but it's close. It's close.
I can't disagree with that.
It's close.
I can't disagree with that.
I mean, I think it's solid all the way around. And those are our first 10 picks of this draft. So let me give you a quick review. Browns went with Sam Darnold. The Giants go with Josh Allen. They get their quarterback need. Then the Jets take Baker Mayfield. So they get their quarterback need as well. The Bryans with Fitzpatrick. The Broncos get Saquon Barkley, getting a running back to replace C.J. Anderson. The Colts go with Quentin Nelson, getting some desperate help on that offensive line. The Bucs go Bradley Chubb, another pass rusher that can really help out their team, to go with David, and to also go with McCoy. Then you have Jermaine Edwards heading to the Bears. Rob thinks he could be the next great Bear linebacker. The 49ers take Denzel Ward, where I think a lot of people on this panel think could be the best cornerback, if not the best cornerback in this draft. And the Raiders take probably one of the most dangerous linebackers in this draft, from Roquan Smith. Now, ladies and gentlemen, those are our top 10, but now we got our special guest, of course, with us. We swing over to our man, Tyrone Montgomery, with our special guest, Michael Bish.
You know, Mike, teams are always looking to have a good quarterback in the league this year. And the Giants, they got the number 2 pick. They take Josh Allen out of Wyoming. What does this tell you about the future of Eli Manning?
Well, it says several things about Eli Manning. I mean, the main one is something we all know. Eli Manning is on the back end of his career, a couple of good years left in the league. Now, it could mean a couple things if you really dive into it. Are the Giants going to trade Eli and go ahead and start start Josh Allen in that position? And my answer is no. Like I said, I think Eli still has a couple of years left. I think they're going to, if they, obviously take Josh Allen, I think, building him up, letting him learn behind Eli Manning is most important for Josh Allen's development. And, of course, without Sam Darnold there, if you go quarterback, Josh Allen is the best available, in my opinion.
You make a good point because if you think about the Green Bay Packers, what they did with Aaron Rodgers, who would have known that he would become this MVP that we see in the league today?
Yeah, and that's the thing about the NFL nowadays is we're throwing quarterbacks out there expecting them to succeed just like that, and it's not happening. We're really not developing quarterbacks, giving them the time to build behind a quarterback like Eli Manning or Aaron Rodgers. That's out the door. So it's important that when you bring a guy in like Josh Allen, that you let him learn and let him develop, so he can develop into the quarterback that the Giants need for the years to come.
Definitely. And speaking of quarterbacks, 3 quarterbacks drafted in the top 10. Any one of these quarterbacks in particular you think will have an immediate impact?
Immediate impact, I would have to say Sam Darnold. I know it's the basic pick to go there, but he's the best quarterback in this draft, in my opinion. Strong arm. He's going to come into the Browns. Now, we don't know if he's going to start because obviously they got Tyrod Taylor in the trade. So it all depends on how that's going to play out. But if he does start, he is going to be the most immediate impact player. And outside of that, if he doesn't start, I'm going to have to go with Baker Mayfield. I like Baker Mayfield a lot to the Jets, and this is probably something that's going to happen.
Very true, very true. A team that's not looking forward to seeing these quarterbacks are the Oakland Raiders, or the Las Vegas Raiders, shall I say. So they ranked 20th in defense last season in the league. That's just god-awful. They gave us so many yards, so many points. So they decided to take linebacker Roquan Smith out of Georgia. Does he fix their issues?
I don't think he completely fixed the issues on defense, but it helps tremendously. I think bringing in a guy like that, in my opinion, one of the best linebackers in the draft. He fights off blocks very quickly, and he's going to get there in the backfield. He's going to wreak havoc, straight up, plain and simple. So I think it doesn't completely fix it. They're going to have to add some pieces to get that defense to be a dominant defense, but it helps tremendously.
Definitely. Well, we'll send it back over to the studio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it there from Ty and Mike. We'll be back with them in just a little while, and let's go ahead and get into 11 through 20. So we're first quarter of the draft so far. Rob, quick thoughts. What do you think so far?
Everything is going to plan. Like I said, the Baker Mayfield, I don't understand it. I will never understand it. You have to look at the history of Oklahoma quarterbacks, just like USC quarterbacks. I mean, it is what it is.
What about you, Russ?
I like it. And to your point, not everyone can get lucky and get a Carson Wentz and win a Super Bowl in their second year.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
technically, Carson Wentz didn't win the Super Bowl.
Carson Wentz got him.
He got him there.
Carson Wentz
He
got him.
got him there. MVP.
Let's just speak facts. Nick Foles
MVP.
won that Super Bowl because Carson Wentz can't stop. He can't stay healthy because he continues to take chances.
I don't think he's going to take chances this year.
He's going to be a lot smarter this year. But to your Baker Mayfield disagreement, I think that he's going to come in and he's going to turn this Jets franchise around. I really do. If he can stay. Now the biggest concern with Baker Mayfield for me is not on the field stuff; it's off the field stuff.
He could not run the Cubs.
I'm just saying.
All right, so let's go to number 11. So as we go to number 11, it looks like Moi will be picking for the Miami Dolphins. Now the Dolphins need a few things here. I think. A lot of people say, hey, the Dolphins could go quarterback here. Some people say, hey, the Dolphins could, maybe go after receiver. They did lose Landry. There's a few ways they can go with this, but one of the biggest pieces they did lose, and it was Ndamukong Suh. And so for me, I thought, you got to replace a guy who could pretty much play on both. They can play in the 3-4 and can play in the 4-3, and that's why I went with Vita V here. The guy's just he's a monster, and he can bull rush better than most. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I think he could be dominant there. I think he's gonna still need some development. Sometimes he plays a little high. And that's something he's going to have to work on. But I do like what I've seen so far from that young man. And, if he's anything a little bit like what was it Danny Shelton that used to be, if he can be a little bit better than the Danny Shelton out there, I think he could. That's what he kind of reminds me of. So Vita V goes to the Dolphins.
Once again, I feel like certain situations aren't meant for certain people. When is the last time a Dolphins player on defense was drafted and had success? When is the last time?
I mean, subtract the 3. It might take some time.
And now here's the issue with a guy like B2B. He has short arms. And here's the thing. I'll give you guys just quick little thing. When you're on the defensive line and you're lining up, you have to actually reach your arms out. You have to actually reach your arms out and grab a guy. If you have short arms and you can't get to the point of attack, you know what happens when you don't attack those A and B gaps? The guy can go right by you. I don't care how big you are. I also have concern he's 347. He's big. He's really big.
He's quick for 347.
I understand, but 347. I mean, you start making that money in the league. You start having a cheeseburger here,
Jamarcus Russell going on there.
Next thing you know, you're about 360, 370. So he has to stay disciplined. I'm sure he will. But I believe that he should have been the pick before that. He has to work on his technique, but he has the ability to be good as long as he doesn't go to Miami.
There you go. All right, Rob. So number 12. You got those Buffalo Bills selecting at number 12?
Oh, I have the steal of the draft. And honestly, this is what surprises me. The Dolphins, who haven't really had a quarterback since Dan Marino, I give it to Josh Rosen, the best quarterback in this draft. 59 touchdowns, 26 interceptions. Yes, he has all the issues where, he questions things. They say he's the rich kid and all this. I compare him to Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't grow up poor. Tom Brady grew up with a great background. And he went to Michigan. He did good things, and now he's in the league, and he's doing great things as well. I compare him to a Tom Brady. I love Josh Rosen. I'm cheering for a guy like Josh Rosen. When I look at a guy like Josh Rosen, I want to watch him every single Sunday. I want to go to the NFL Red Zone channel, and I want to see him throwing touchdowns. Because in Buffalo, they haven't had a quarterback in a while. And Tyrod was good, but Kelly was really ingratiated in that community. I believe a guy like Rosen will go there. I believe that he'll have the right tools. And Buffalo, I believe, will have a quarterback of the future. And the Miami Dolphins just made another stupid draft pick.
Hey, that's what Miami does, right? All right, so number 13, Jay's pick here, the Washington Redskins. Now, this is a very interesting pick. Now, for us, all of us at this table, we cover Washington in some form or the fashion, being here from Virginia. So it's a very interesting pick. It's something that we're all very interested in. And maybe the Redskins get their safety of the future here with Mr. Derwin James. That's where I'm going with. Derwin James going to Washington from Florida State. Some people had this man a few years ago as high as being a top 5 pick. He fallen back because of the injury last year. But I think that, with a secondary that has taken some hits, Norman's getting a little bit older. They lost Breland. Delangelo Hall has retired. They need anybody here. Denzel Ward could be another good person that goes in this spot. Josh. They need help in the defensive backfield. I go. But Jay goes Derwin James here for the Washington Redskins.
Everyone on this panel knows how much I love Sean Taylor, correct?
Yes.
Everybody on this panel knows how much I love Sean Taylor.
Yep.
The Washington Redskins have not seen a safety since Sean Taylor and Derwin James. He comes in, he makes an immediate impact, and Derwin James does great things with the Washington Redskins. He'll be a leader day one. He'll be a tackler day one. He'll be in the building day one. And with this culture change, getting out the money man and Kirk Cousins, who that's all he was worried about. this new culture in Washington is going to be great, and I can't wait to see it on display.
Now this is going to be I agree with you, which is rare. This would be a steal. This would be a steal for the Redskins, in my opinion. Talent-wise, he is the best safety in this draft. I believe the reason that he did fall was, like you said, injury-wise. I think he's better than Micah Fitzpatrick, but he is going to fall. And if the Redskins pick him up, it could be scary because he's going to be one of those players, if he can stay healthy, that's going to, like you said, just change that franchise.
Put him with DJ Swearinger, a guy
who's having a pretty solid. He had a pretty solid year.
It's not even going to be fair because they're going to be cracking heads all day.
Yeah.
But I don't mean to interrupt you, but also the Redskins are very highly interested in Darius Guice.
Yeah.
They really like to get that running back in there that's going to be that guy. They haven't had that guy.
I believe they have a running back in play. I like Kareem. I think Kareem is going to do well.
See, they like them too. They really, really love this guy.
That could be a really good combination package with Guice and Kareem together.
I'll give you that. But we don't want to get off subject too much. But transitioning to Russ, and a team on this panel that somebody on this panel loves a lot. Russ, give it to him.
Just a little bit.
Give it to him.
Just a little bit. Sorry, I didn't pick. I picked for my own team. Now I got to pick for your team.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Don't worry,
I'm not
I
gonna
got
let
to
you
pick
down.
Rob.
You're not gonna like my answer.
I'm pretty sure you won't. The Packers, to say it nicely, they need help on the defense.
Everything.
They need help on the defense.
Everything.
And being a Giants fan myself, I believe it starts up front. You got to get pressure on the quarterback so so your safeties, your cornerbacks have time to digest what's going on, so they can read what's going on. So here, I have them taking a little bit of unknown school. I haven't seen them, I don't think, ever taken a first-round pick. I have them taking defensive end Marcus Davenport out of University of Texas San Antonio. Long-arm defensive end who can also help defend the run as well. So you're not getting shorted out there, but their pass defense in particular, 23rd in the league last year. If you want to actually stop some teams on defense, you got to be able to get to the quarterback and get the rush on there. 8.5 sacks last year himself, 17.5 tackles for loss, 55 total tackles. The man will bring the pressure to that defense in Green Bay and help you guys get settled in the secondary if you get your pieces together.
Well, that's all I can hope for, especially being a Packers fan. But the biggest thing for me, I think they could go a few picks, and that wouldn't surprise me. Landry is one that I had in my mock draft. I think Landry could be somebody. The Packers tend to like players who achieve a lot in college, and Landry led the nation in sacks last year, and so I think that he might creep up in that spot. It's a possibility, but also they could go cornerback. Joshua Jackson's going to be out there. Guys like that. If Ward's out there at the time, they almost have to take Ward. Anywhere on defense, and offensive lineman is a slight chance.
If any of those safeties fall to the Packers,
they got to take them. They got to take
There's
them.
no question about it. No matter what defensive ends available.
I feel like there's a trend going on with me today. A very serious trend, and I'm kind of saying it. It's like y'all keep giving me, y'all keep making it so easy for me. When the Seattle Seahawks picked Bruce Irvin in the draft, do you think they regret that? He was good. Don't get me wrong, but was he worth really the top 15 pick?
I mean, if you watch how his career started, he had like 5 or 6 sacks in the first 2 or 3 games.
But that's the thing. Everybody can start fast, but how do you finish?
He got a ring.
He
got a ring, and I mean, he was pretty solid there for a while. He's got a ring.
He got a ring, but how much of that was on him?
Some good stuff. All right.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah.
He was a piece.
You asked my question. Thank you, sir. Now, that's who I compare Marcus Davenport to. He's that flash in the pan. He looks good on tape. Coming from UTSA, and oh man, he runs fast and he does this. Listen, when he gets to the league, he's going to get tore up. He's going to be a bust. He is not. I would not take him in my first round.
Real quick, Packers, I believe, could go, like you said, several different positions, defensively and offensively. I don't think which side of the ball you go on, I don't think would hurt them. And I hate to say this, but y'all need a lot of help.
You're not hurting my feelings at all, sir. I agree with you 9,000,000,000%.
A lot of positions,
all defense.
a lot of positions filled, and like you said, all defense. And you got to remember, yes, you're going to need a safety or a cornerback, but also remember a lot of your cornerbacks were injured last year.
Always.
And now, Mike. And speaking of help, let's transition to the Arizona Cardinals and their quarterback situation.
Well, let's talk about Arizona and their quarterback situation. Now, a lot of people know that Carson Palmer is no longer there. They picked up Samuel Bradford, and they also picked up a guy that I actually like a lot. And I think he's still. I know people may think I'm crazy, but I think he got a little bit of unfair shake in Chicago only because his receivers could not catch the football, and that's Mike Glennon. He came in, they got him on the cheap, so I don't hate that. But I do think they go quarterback here. You have to go with a guy that's gonna take this team over. And Rob, you actually brought a point up to me a while back.
I did.
It's a little bit weird in Arizona, but maybe you need a culture changer. And it was Larry Fitzgerald there. I would love to see Mr. Lamar Jackson, quarterback for Louisville, go there. And I think that the way that crowd, that energy, the kid is really good on his feet. I've seen him make some moves. Looked like he was in trouble and still able to reestablish himself in the pocket and throw some bombs down the field. He's a Heisman winner. The kid is tough. I got to go with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and I actually like this pick. I really do. And it came from the man himself. Mike Vick said Lamar Jackson is way ahead of where he was right now. Lamar Jackson, he studies film. He studies tape. He doesn't just rely on his legs. And he does have an arm. He has a little bit of accuracy issues that he will have to work on. He has to get better in the pocket. But I do think that this is a good pick, especially with Sam Bradford. You can't rely on Sam Bradford. Let's be honest here. Sam Bradford is accurate. If he could stay healthy, he would have a solid career. He would have a really good career, if we're being honest. But that's just not the case. You can't rely on him to stay healthy. So I like Lamar Jackson a lot at this position. I don't think it's a big risk for the Cardinals to take it.
The only way I like this pick is David Johnson will come back healthy. Now, like I said, strange things happen in Arizona, especially after 4:15. But I'm serious. I'm serious. Like, you know, if you look back at Jake Plummer's career, when they used to play at 4:15. After that, they had some strange wins, beat some good teams, but that's neither here nor there.
Is that 4:15?
The magic is not going to be in Arizona for Lamar Jackson. It's not the right place. It's not the right time. You still got Seattle over there. You still got the Rams who are about to disembark on some craziness this year, and you have the 49ers who are up and coming. I believe the two teams that would be good for him are the Patriots and the Saints because they have good offensive minds. Bruce Arians is gone from Arizona. I just don't think it's the right spot. So if I'm in Lamar Jackson, I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I'll say it like this: he has the lateral quickness of Steve Young, the agility of Randall Cunningham, and the speed of Michael Vick. Is that accurate? Is that something that you got to say?
That's accurate. In all honesty, I think Mike was a tad bit faster. I do. But Lamar Jackson is his breakaway speed.
And that's the reason I compared him to possibly Randall Cunningham.
Yeah. And when I say a tad bit faster, I'm talking like 0.2, 0.3. I mean, he's fast.
My only concern with Lamar Jackson is, and I've said it from day one, and you look at Teddy Bridgewater, and I hate to compare him, but you got to compare him because same body frame, pretty much everything. Now Jackson is a little bit more built than him, but a lot of one of the things that people look at is his frame. He's got to bulk, not too much, but he's got to get a little bit bigger. Yeah. He's got to be able to withstand those big hits that he's going to take at the next level. There's going to be some dogs coming at him, including those guys from the Rams. Yeah. You know, that deep with Brockers, Sue, and Donald, that's a dangerous trio down in LA.
I mean, I'm a Bridgewater fan, and you can't even compare. I mean, I know they have the frail bodies, but you know, Teddy Bridgewater is like a poor man's Manny with a noodle arm. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, honestly, you go back and look. Teddy Bridgewater has that. He's a poor man's Peyton Manning. He has the brains. He has but like I say, he has a noodle arm. That's why a lot of times you can't throw those long passes on the field. Lamar Jackson has a strong arm.
Yes, he does.
He is more accurate than a lot of people give him credit for. Now, speaking of accurate, I want you guys to know that. Don't kill me on this, but I'm going to be accurate on my next pick. And my next pick is where, Darrell?
Well, at number 16, the Baltimore Ravens will be selecting, and Robb Johnson, I think you got them coming with a little bit of receiver help, right?
Let me say this. Baltimore is a tough town. Am I right?
Yeah.
Baltimore is hard-nosed, right?
Yeah, that's where the wire was.
The wire started, right? Yeah, okay. Now, we look at a guy like Calvin Ridley, right? Calvin Ridley is more like it's kind of funny. You get these Alabama wide receivers. They want to be stars. There's Brian. You know, he's more of a star. You know, stuff like that. When I look at a guy like, don't kill me, Anthony Miller, wide receiver Memphis. This guy is a dog.
Talented guy.
This guy meets Baltimore. This guy is Baltimore. And you know who he reminds me of? Now you go back to 2000, 2001, something like that. If you knew you could get Steve Smith in the first round, would you have taken him?
Of course.
Exactly. So this guy right here is a combination.
This is the Giants,
of,
Steve Smith.
And I see you doubt my pick, but this guy is a combination of Brandon Cooks and Steve Smith. In the last couple of years, this guy has had 96 receptions, 98 receptions. He's just dominated. And I believe that Memphis, and actually this same guy dominated Mike Hughes. He went back past Mike Hughes, who I have going later. I'm just a big believer in him. You know, he's 5'11", around 190, 200 pounds. You need that toughness. And let's be honest, Baltimore has drafted some duds.
Look, Anthony Miller is a great talent. And I'm going to dive more into what I think about Calvin Ridley once we get to that pick. But you're wrong, in my opinion, on that pick.
Okay. We'll make a wager. I guarantee you, going into the league, Anthony Miller will make an immediate impact and will get a lot of yards, get a lot of touchdowns, and whoever passes on him will regret it.
I don't want
guarantee
you.
it.
I don't want you to confuse me of saying that I don't like this kid because I think he's going to be a great asset in the league. So you can't go wrong with this pick, but I don't think that he is better than Calvin Ridley. I don't.
All right, let's swing to number 17 there after that pick. Looks like the San Diego Chargers are on the clock at number 17, and Mr. Quimby on this selection went with Tavian Bryan, defensive tackle from Florida. This kid is an absolute monster. A lot of people compare him to J.J. Watt, and that's why people think he's climbing up the boards, because at one point he was a second, third round pick. He has climbed all the way and snuck into this first round. He's going to be a very critical piece, for a Chargers team that continue to develop that defensive line with Bosa on there. So they got a lot of talent there. And to be honest with you, the way that division stands right now, that's the Chargers' division to win, in my opinion. And all that they do is they've got to continue to grow and get a little bit better. I just think that the Chargers have to find ways to win games that they're supposed to win. That's always been the problem with the Chargers. They just can't do it. And so for me, or for Jay, Tavian Bryan going to San Diego.
I mean,
L.A.
Well, here's the thing. For me, I think it's a safe pick. I had him going maybe in my own personal mock draft. I had him going later. I'm not picking him now, but in my own 32, I had him going later. But it's a safe pick. It's about as safe as about as safe as going to the grocery store, and picking up some apples. You're gonna lose some weight. So it's a safe pick.
You're gonna lose some weight.
It's a safe pick.
That's hilarious.
It's a safe pick. So I like it. You put him with Bosa, you put him with that defense. I just want LA to get more consistent. I'm so tired of them losing these close games every year. So hopefully Brian comes in and changes the culture and does something better, because LA, you need to do better.
I like this pick a lot for the LA Chargers because they can score with the best of them. Phillip Rivers I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. A lot of people don't mention it, but I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I love him. He puts up good
numbers. He does.
He
put
really
up
does.
numbers.
But they just never can finish games. So I think improving the defense, I think this will help them get better. I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team next year. I'm not saying they're going to be a Super Bowl contender next year, but I think this pick does help them a lot.
Excuse me for a second. Pretty good. If Phillip Rivers gets in the Hall of Fame, they better send Don McNabb three jackets. Do you understand that? I'm done now.
They better send him 3 jackets.
Now let's move on to our next pick.
Let's go to Russ.
I will say, though, as much tear as Donovan McNabb caused me, I can't disagree with that tear.
Thank you, Stats.
Next pick, we're going to go down to Seattle, I guess up to Seattle from LA. They have what they need at quarterback. They have a good wide receiver, Doug Martin. I think he's one of the most underrated receivers in the league, if not the most. He always surprises people. 1,000 yards consistently,
Baldwin.
8-9 touchdowns. Sorry, thinking about running backs. Too physical. Doug Baldwin. Thank you for that, Rob. But I think they're going to get some help for Russell Wilson, because even though he wasn't the most sacked quarterback in the league, he still ran
for his life.
He still seemed like he was running a marathon every snap. Like, am I wrong or not?
No, you're not wrong at all.
Like, it didn't seem right. So I believe they're going to get tackle help here, and they're going to pick up Quentin Nelson's teammate, Mike McGlinchey, tackle from Notre Dame. I think he'll be able to help with some pass protection, and he'll still be able to help with the run protection as well. Depending on which side he's playing, I think he's going to go to, I want to say, right tackle, Mm-hmm. So at right tackle is more of, I guess, the run protection tackle, but still, he can still help you either or, pass protection or run protection. Strong hands up there.
You look at this Seahawks, and I don't disagree. They need as much offensive line help as they can get. And you made a good point. I mean, Russell Wilson ran all the time last year. That's why he was MVP candidate, because he was always on the run. He still made things happen, and they snuck into the playoffs. So I don't hate the pick. Actually, I really like the pick for them. I mean, they can probably go with any of those offensive linemen there, and I probably would be happy with it. So, but McGlinchey is a really good pick. Some people got him going higher in the draft as well. So I think it's a solid pick there for Seattle.
Well, here in my Rob files, it says that when Russell
Rob files.
You can find them. You can find them everywhere. It says that when the Rams decided to load up an artillery worth of just killers, that's the reason he went to the Yankees, because he was like, you know what, I'm not doing this. So you better get that man some offensive line help, or Russell Wilson.
He's going to be playing for the Yankees next year.
Pretty much, because if you don't, we have a spatula. You got to be. It's gonna be a pancake all year long.
This guy.
Because I'm serious. Because if you look at it, the Rams already own the Seahawks anyway. Over the last couple of years, even with lower talent. So what are they gonna do now? So hey, you better get that man some help. Now, speaking of help, we're gonna transition to Darrell and a team that I think some people on this panel know pretty well, the Dallas Cowboys.
There you go. Now, look, it's funny because when we had our pre-draft talks, me and Rob had a very interesting
you already know what I'm going to say about
back and forth about this.
It's going to be a good one.
Now, I will say this. I feel pretty good about this because now it looks like I was a magician a little bit because in that conversation that we had, this next pick that I got the Dallas Cowboys selecting, I got them going with Cortland Sutton, receiver from SMU. And the reason why I got them going there is because Dez Bryant is gone.
I would ask you though. You made that pick before Dez Bryant was gone, so
that's true. But that was a rookie. But see, I had this vibe, and when we had our pre discussions, they were having that meeting. Everybody knew the meeting was coming down, and I just me and Mike talked about it on his show last week. We knew that it was going to happen. We had the vibe that Dez Bryant would not be there, and they're going to need another big-time play guy. He's lanky. He can catch the ball. Really well. He's got really good hands. He can make one-handed grabs. He's in SMU, so a lot of people don't know him. But the kid's got, I think, everything it needs to be maybe a lower version of Dez Bryant.
See, I think.
Come on, Rob. Come on.
Okay, see now.
Come on, Rob.
Outside of my professionalism, as an Eagles fan, I hate this pick. I do because this guy is going to be good. He's going to be a very good wide receiver, and they really, in this situation after cutting Dez Bryant, they have no choice but to draft wide receiver. Or they're going to be throwing. Who are they throwing to? Cole Beasley. Terrence Williams, yeah, they're nice. They're nice compliments. Jason Witten doesn't catch balls anymore. But yeah, I think Cortland Sutton is a great pick for the Cowboys, and I think it's going to pay off for them. I really do.
So I have a question for everyone.
Okay.
With Dez Bryant being out of Dallas, where do you guys think would be a good fit for him?
Green Bay.
Bay?
Like, if they can afford him.
Yeah, I'm going.
I would love to have him in New Jersey, the Giants. Especially since he wants to make it personal. He said it out loud. He wants to make it personal. And sorry, Brandon Marshall, maybe you shouldn't open your mouth a day before you get cut. But we have room now for Dez Bryant on a bargain. I wouldn't mind having him. If he puts up numbers, I can deal with the attitude.
Yeah.
I can deal with the diva mentality.
See, I like Dez. I think he fits good in Green Bay as well, and I also think that he fits good with New Orleans. Having a gunslinger quarterback, two gunslinger quarterbacks in. With the Saints and with the Packers, kind of what he had with Tony Romo. That's when he had his best years. I think that's what he needs again to be successful.
I would argue that a little bit because I say Drew Brees is a little bit more consistent than Tony Romo. His accuracy, in my opinion, is better than Tony Romo. Tony Romo's mobility is what made him special. His accuracy while mobile. And if we're going to talk about in Green Bay, comparing him to Green Bay as well, I would say Aaron Rodgers, his gunslinger arm he was behind Brett Favre forever, and he still developed a heck of an arm himself. So I would say his arm is more powerful. So if we're going to compare his situation to Tony Romo, I would say he'd do even better with those two, either one of those two.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying I think having a guy, Tony Romo and Dak Prescott are two totally different type of quarterbacks.
Completely different.
Yeah, so Dez needs a quarterback like Tony Romo, like a Drew Brees, like an Aaron Rodgers.
What about like a Cam Newton? I think Carolina, they need a wide receiver out there. Cam Newton is too much on his shoulders.
See, I think that would be a good fit. I'm not sure how the personalities would do, in all honesty.
That's the only thing.
I don't know if it'd be a good fit because if I had to say, he just came from the Cowboys. And I'm sorry, Rob, I'm going to say this, and I know you're probably, there's about a 99.8% chance you ain't going to like it. I feel like Cam Newton, to me, is a better version of Dak Prescott. So I feel like he's in the same situation.
First of all, I was a Cowboys fan, but I'm a sports journalist. I don't get indulged with who's winning the Super Bowl because bottom line is, Eagles Cowboys could win the Super Bowl next year. Guess what? I still got to wake up in the morning and go to work. They rich. They good. I ain't worried about all that. I'm here for the people. I'm here for the people. I don't really care about who's winning, who's what. Like I said, here there. I said I'll be happy for the Cowboys. They were my team growing up, but hey, it doesn't bother me much. I'm not out there playing. They're the athletes. But I think all of y'all are completely tripping right now. We up here talking about Drew Brees and Tony Romo. Don't even talk about that. Drew Brees was very athletic in his day at Purdue, and even he can run. But hold on, I'm confused. Let's get back to this guy. Was it Cortland Sutton? Okay. Do you remember when the Cowboys gave up, when Jerry Jones traded all his picks, his house, his family, his third cousin, his food, and everything? Who did he trade that for back in, I believe, 2004? What wide receiver?
Oh, Mr. Roy Williams.
Number 11, Roy Williams from Texas. Number 11, Cortland Sutton is a poor man's Roy Williams. You should love this pick because Cortland Sutton is going to be a complete and utter bust in the NFL.
Wow.
So he doesn't. That's all he is Roy Williams. He makes big strong strides. That's it. He's Roy Williams. He's a poor man's version. He's okay. He's not the wide receiver that I picked earlier. Not a good pick. You, as Eagles fans who still hold on to that moniker, good luck because you're gonna be locking him down every Sunday.
Well, I will tell you this: if it was in my opinion, I would have taken Calvin Ridley over Sutton.
True.
But I have how I feel about Calvin Ridley is something that you don't agree with, obviously.
No. Let me say about Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is star-driven. That's why I didn't put him in Baltimore. He's more of a guy that goes to a Cowboys, to maybe a big market, a bigger market where there's glam, where there's a new beautiful stadium. He's not built for all that that tough and glam. Because coming from Alabama, he doesn't want that anymore. He wants the bright lights.
Yeah.
So
sounds like screaming the Rams.
All right, so before we hit the number 20 and get back to Mr. Ty here, I will throw in my predictions for Dez Bryant, or at least where I like to see him go. 1, Kansas City. I think he'd be great in Kansas City to go with Watkins and help out a really good young Pat Mahomes because he's got an arm and a rocket.
Tyreek Hill, too.
And Tyreek Hill.
And he'll be with a coach that knows how to handle personality.
Exactly. And then the next one would be the Saints. Those are my 2 selections for there. As much as I like to go in Green Bay, I don't think he's going to go to Green Bay because he's already said that he pretty much feels like it's going to be wrong for him to go to Green Bay because there's too much history there. He caught it. Okay, Dez, you caught the football. I thought you caught it then, but it doesn't matter because the game's over now. Anyway, let's go to number 20 and probably the shock of this draft, Rob.
And you said the coach in Kansas City can handle the pressure, right?
Handle pressure? No, I said handle personality.
Handle personalities. Okay, well, I hope he does that better than he does clock management. Anyway,
trust me, if anybody knows, Andy Reid does not know how to handle clock
so
management.
going to number 20, and I could care less what anybody thinks because you know what? In this world, it's all about being different and being who you want to be and what you want to be. I'm taking Rashad Penny, running back, San Diego State. The man ran a 4.47. The man is tough. He's big. He's strong. And this is the right spot for Detroit. Now, if I'd had, in my regular draft, I'd had guys like Sonny Michael, maybe Geis earlier in this draft. I'm telling you, this guy is the right pick for a Detroit Lions team who can throw the ball, who is always so close. And if you actually go back and look the way he runs and look the way he does things, I think that he would be a good asset for Detroit Lions. Because you're going to have shocks of the draft. You're not always going to get those certain picks that you think you're going to get. I like him. I think that he brings a toughness and a nastiness to Detroit that they haven't seen since Barry Sanders. Boom.
All right, now
I don't like this pick. Let me state this. I don't like this pick. I think it's a reach. I think this is somebody. I agree. He fits with the Lions.
Here, I reached.
There you go. I agree. I agree with your premises of he fits with the Lions. He really does. But I think this is the guy that the Lions could snag in the second round.
You don't want this guy. You don't want this guy.
There's way too much overall better talent on the board that they could get on the offensive side of the ball.
Do you use OfferUp? Do you use OfferUp? Let me ask you about OfferUp. OfferUp, right? You see something you want, right? You wait 5 minutes if you want to. It's going to be gone. So let me say something.
No. You're reaching. They would be reaching with Rashad Penny, and you don't. That's what you don't want to do.
That's
you do
what I'm
not
saying.
want to reach.
And I agree. I think that if anything, you could get him in the second round.
Absolutely.
Maybe even get him in the third. I think that his value has gotten up that if you're going to grab him, you got to grab him in the second round.
I would be fine with the second round.
Yeah, I think he's a second round.
I think you're just saying that because you don't want him to run over that porous defense in Green Bay.
I'm not worried about him. The Lions haven't had a running back since, you said it, Barry Sanders. They've drafted running back after running back after running back. Yeah. Kevin Smith, Amir Abdullah. I could go on. The Lions have finished last in rushing touchdowns
Rasha-
inside the 20
And-
for years.
Rashad Penny gets
and it's
drafted.
going to continue.
Let's just say this.
Rashad Penny.
big
That's
reason
number
for
one.
that,
Let's just-
though,
Of course you don't agree.
They don't even like to run the ball.
Yeah, and let's just say Rashad Penny gets drafted here. He's not even going to be the starter.
Exactly.
He's not even going to be the starter.
If you draft a first
I
round
believe
running back,
he
he's gotta
will
at
be the
least
starter.
contend for the
But
Oh,
listen,
he'll contend, but I'm telling you, LeGarrette Blunt can
Okay,
handle
no.
the
But
ball.
not
but
starting
see,
Blunt.
but what
Yes, he
happened in
is.
Philadelphia
He's
last
not
year?
starting Blunt
What happened in
over Blunt.
What happened in Philly last year? You had a LeGarrette Blunt and you had a Jay Ajayi. So, but neither saying that, great discussion. We're going to go back to our esteemed guest,
Okay,
and Mike Bish.
Mike Bish.
Mr. Bish, we just finished picks 11 through 20. Were there any surprise picks in this segment?
I don't want to outside of the one topic we just got on the Rashad Penny. I'm going to say no. I really like these picks. I think if I had to go, I guess, quote unquote, shock wise, I was kind of surprised to see the Dolphins pass up on Josh Rosen. I would expect them to take a guy like Josh Rosen with that quarterback position and having that talent and having the struggles with Tannehill that they've had over the past few years. And I think Rob alluded to earlier through those picks that he would have taken Josh Rosen right there with the
Thank you,
Dolphins
Mike.
as well.
Appreciate that, sir.
That makes me think about the Cardinals pick. They took Lamar Jackson with that 15th overall pick.
Yeah.
The Cardinals, they have a pretty good roster. It's pretty balanced on both sides of the ball. But injuries hit this team every single year, especially at the quarterback.
Yeah.
And they just picked up another injury-prone quarterback in Sam Bradford. So do you think Lamar Jackson will have a chance to start this season?
Absolutely. I don't think he will start right away, but I do think he will get the start. I mean, that's like betting against history. I would be a fool to bet against that.
I think Sam Bradford might have hurt himself signing the contract.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a huge. I would go 100% chance of him starting.
Okay, gotcha. And,
Hello? What happened? Guys, breaking news. Sam Bradford just went back to the hospital.
Stop playing.
Sam Bradford just went back to the hospital.
But yeah, I mean, I would be a fool to say that Lamar Jackson wouldn't get his shot
That's
if
great.
drafted to the Cardinals because whoever is going to be that backup quarterback in Arizona, they're getting a start this year.
Yeah.
It's almost a certainty.
I mean, yeah, it is.
Trying to figure out if Sam Bradford can play a full season is like trying to figure out the 10th number in pi. It's just going to take you too long. You need help with that. You need help.
Yeah, but I and also through those picks, I do if I would have to pick a favorite, it would be Derwin James to the Redskins. I think that would be a steal for them.
And hey, who benefits from that most? The LegacyMaker Sports Network. Who will be at watch the Redskins games. Check us out on Facebook,
man.
Instagram,
Always
Twitter.
on the PR move,
Check
I'm
us
telling
out. We got pictures and all that. Now, Mr. Tyrone, did you have more questions for us, sir?
right back to y'all.
Hey,
All right.
Going back to our esteemed host, Mr. Darrell Owens.
All right, y'all. So we're here in the last bit here. We got just a little bit left. Plus, we got our sleepers, and we also have a special guest that we are going to talk to towards the end of this. And once again, thank you everybody for tuning in so far. So now we're at 21. This is Jay's pick, and I'm going to read what he said per se because I like what he said here, and I don't want to mess up anything he said. The Bengals here at 21. He thinks the Bengals will go with defensive tackle Tyrone Payne. And it's, I mean, you know, from Alabama, the guy's tough. But this is what Jay had to say. The Bengals are ranked 30th against the run and with only 11 interceptions. Or getting pressure to the quarterback will give them more interception. Adding a player like Payne will slow down the runners, but don't waste his talent. Don't make him a nose tackle in a 3-4. Play him on the end or make him 4-3 under the tackle. Just line him up in the B gap and let him wreak havoc. That is a Jeremiah Quimby exclusive on that one.
I'll say it's a little shocking to see to read off the numbers as far down as they were against the rush. Because to be honest, Geno Atkins is one of my favorite players in the league.
Right.
I love his size. I love his tenacity. I love his playing ability. And Jay knows this. He keeps stealing my picks because I was hoping Tyrone Payne would fall to the Falcons. But I love this pick myself because, just like I said, pairing him with Geno Atkins, who I think is still one of the better defensive tackles in the league, if they're smart enough, like Jay said, to play him on the outside or play him in the B gap and just let those two go to work on that defensive line, it's going to actually look better for the Bengals in the AFC North. It's just going to – they might actually give Ben Roethlisberger a reason to actually retire for sure.
In 1995, there was a comedy that came out. It was an hour and 35 minutes. It was a very good movie in my book. It's called Major Payne. I think this is going to be a major pain of a pick. When is the last time you saw an Alabama defensive tackle linebacker that had any success in this National Football League? I don't like the pick. The Bengals are a complete disaster right now. They need a new quarterback.
They need a new coach.
You know, so in this spot, if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, if Lamar Jackson, which I was still thinking was sitting there, maybe they would pick him. They need a complete reboot because they're turning into the Bengals of the '90s. So, yeah, he's going to be a major pain. He's not going to be. I don't like the pick. I don't like it at all. Yeah. So just like Rotten Tomatoes getting movie 33%, I'm giving this a 10%.
All right, let's go now to number 22, the Buffalo Bills. This is the second of their picks here in the first round. Russ, where did the Buffalo Bills go?
We switch it around. It's still going to go on offensive line. And I seem to be picking a lot of them recently.
They're
Bills,
kind of important, you know.
They really are.
Yeah,
And
definitely this year.
Trust me, I'm a Giants fan. I know how important offensive line is to winning success. Like offensive line, defensive line, number one. But I digress. The Bills, they got their quarterback of the future, or they seem to get their quarterback of the future, and I will say I do love that pick as well. I like Josh Rosen a lot myself, Rob. But now they need to protect him. They need to protect him, and I will say this is still a new team. They have a new offensive coordinator. What's his name? Make sure I don't get that wrong. Brian DeBolt, coming from the Patriots, I believe. He runs a West Coast offense. West Coast offense on offensive line relies on your good zone blocking scheme, and that's why I have Connor Williams, the offensive tackle from Texas, going in there. They ran the same kind of blocking scheme, zone blocking. So I believe this right here over Will Hernandez or Connor Williams. I believe Connor Williams. I can't remember the other kid's name. Or Colton Miller or something like that. But I believe this is a scheme fit here for the Bills. And either way, either lineman you pick, you're going to get someone that's going to be able to help you protect your quarterback in the future. You got to protect the paycheck. You got to get the wins.
You know, Russ, I don't hate this pick because they do need offensive line help. I probably would have went with the pick that I'm about to make now for the New England Patriots, and that's William Hernandez, guard from UTEP. You know, losing Nate Soldier for the Patriots was a pretty big deal, and you guys are the beneficiary in New York for that. But they needed, they're going to need more offensive line help in New England. Now there is a strong possibility if the New England Patriots do not move up in this draft to get, higher picks, possibly even a quarterback, because that's the word out there. You don't know what New England's thinking that, because supposedly Tom Brady has not made his decision if he's playing or not this year yet.
I will say though, if they want to go and get a quarterback, the Patriots, they have to trade in front of the Bills.
Yes, they do.
No doubt about it. They have to trade in front of the Bills, and if the Bills, if the Bills trade themselves into the top 5, I believe the Patriots sit put, because it's going to cost them too much to jump in front ahead of them.
I can't be upset with that.
First of all, the New England Patriots, as I'm looking at my notes here, need a linebacker. Harold Landry should be the pick. Number 2, this is an absolute PR nightmare because his last name is Hernandez. Okay,
This guy.
just keeping it real. I'm not even trying to be funny. When you look at it from a public relations standpoint, I guarantee you, if they draft him, you're gonna start seeing on Twitter, and everybody. I'm not being funny here. You know how important it is for social media and all that stuff. People are going to be making comparisons. You're going to be getting memes and all that, and it's just going to be. It's going to. I think it will weigh on a guy like Hernandez going.
Well,
so,
I almost
saying.
agree with you, Rob. If he was a tight end, if he was an offensive player, if he was a receiver, he's an offensive player, but if he was a more high-profile offensive player, I would agree with you 100% because you're right. That's a PR nightmare to have another Hernandez in the mix. But unfortunately, I think with him, he being on the offensive line, the guys down in the trenches don't get as much love as they deserve. So I would agree with you if he was a receiver or a tight end.
Technically, offensive linemen, defensive, and tight ends put their hands in the dirt.
I mean, I'm not saying that, but we're talking about it on like. All right, can you? I mean, you probably could because Rob, I'm pretty sure you're astute. But how many people can really name like the top 10, 15 offensive linemen in the league? I'm not talking about you, Rob. We know you can. I'm talking about the general fan.
I think you'd be very shocked.
Well, okay.
I think you'd be shocked.
I think that if it was under that circumstance, it could be a little bit more of an issue if he was more of a high profile player. But the name will ring a little bit.
And plus, the Patriots, as you guys have known over the last 25 days, there's been more drama out of New England than we've seen in how many years? Yeah. There's been more drama. So, it's like one thing piles over another. But going to my pick, trying to get this thing finished up here, I have very simple here, Mike Hughes, cornerback. I think that he is the right pick here. He tackles well. He was at North Carolina for a season, and then he went over to UCF. I think that he's the right pick. He can cover well. If you need him to go in the slot, he will. He's a very good tackler, just like Minkah Fitzpatrick, like I was saying earlier, Denzel Ward. Most of these guys in this draft are very good tacklers. And for a Carolina team that struggled, I feel like a lot, especially with giving up a lot of pass yards last year, I think that this would be the right pick for them. It's a safe pick. So that's my pick right there in number 24.
Can't disagree with it.
I don't hate it as well. The only other person I think mentally I would probably pick here if I'm Carolina would be, and I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I would go with Christian Kirk from Texas A&M because he gives me, to me, if not Ridley, don't break your ankles. If not Ridley, because Ridley would be another person I would take here if Ridley is still available. But between those two guys would be one of the guys. When I see Kirk, I'm not saying he's Steve Smith, but he does have the body feel. He can break tackles. He does great yards after the catch. That would be my only other person I would pick.
He's going to be a bust in this league as well.
I don't agree with that statement.
Wouldn't take him.
I don't agree with that statement at all.
Would not take him, whatever. But going to the next pick, which is
Jay's got the Tennessee Titans coming up with this pick, and you know Tennessee, brand new jerseys. What do you guys think about the jerseys? It's not too bad.
I'm as interested as watching paint dry on the wall.
All right, great. So Jay has the Titans taking Harold Landry here from Boston College, and you heard me talk about it earlier. When it comes down to it, I like what Landry could do for this Titans team because, like I said, he's a pass rusher that could get you sacks. He was number one in college football last year in sacks. So I think it's a great pick. He ran a 4.6 40. He's 6'3", 260 pounds. You know, and I just think that he could be a really good pickup for Tennessee as well as Jay.
I like Harold Landry. I think he's a pretty good player. Don't like the spot, but I think he'd be better in New England. But I can't be mad at him.
To be honest, for where he fell in our draft here, I can't hate the pick. I believe he could go higher, but for how far he falls, I don't think he should fall out the first round. So
now,
I feel it's a good pick.
Speaking of falling into the right place at the right time, and it is no place like home. There is no place like home, but you ain't Dorothy. Let him know.
This pick right here, I can tell Mike's about to burst open with a smile right now. He already told me this is his favorite pick of the draft when he came in. But right here, considering how far he fell, and I believe he is the number one wide receiver in this draft, and the only one I can maybe say is on the same level is Courtland Sutton, but he's already taken. So who are they going to go with next in Atlanta? In Atlanta Falcons, I believe they take the home kid from not the home kid, but from a state over, pretty close. The wide receiver Calvin Ridley from Alabama. Excellent route runner.
It's an amazing pick.
Excellent route runner that just explodes out of his cuts, and he will be open a lot of the time. And even he'll be open a lot of the time because he has two guys in front of him that will just take too much attention off him. And he'll be perfect in the slot. And I know he's not afraid in Alabama SEC country to go down in the middle and go across the field. Being that he's from Alabama, they hit harder than grandma with a pot when she's angry on Sunday. So he won't be afraid to go across the middle. And even that, I'll throw it into as well. He's a decent run blocker for a wide receiver as well. 6 foot, 190 pounds. Has good size arms, about 32 inches arm length for a wide receiver. So I believe he'll be okay down there in Atlanta, and they get a third weapon, which is almost unfair.
Yeah, it's almost unfair.
I believe certain guys going, and I'm not that I wasn't a Calvin Ridley guy, but like I said, places like Dallas, places like LA, places like Atlanta, those are big time markets. You know, even a place like in New York, Jersey, whatever you want to call it.
It's New Jersey, but okay.
Yeah, anyway. But anyway, like I said, I believe perfect spot, perfect time. Going to Atlanta, this pick right here puts the Atlanta Falcons in line for a Super Bowl run. And I don't care how good the Eagles are. I don't care how good the LA Rams are.
Oh,
you put Ridley, and you put Ridley in that wide receiver core. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You put fear because if you look at the playoffs last year, besides Super Bowl, the only team to really give the Falcons the Eagles any trouble was the Atlanta Falcons, and that's because the Falcons screwed up. The Falcons screwed up down there. So you go from there, and they won that game. They're in the NFC title game. So this team is close, and that defense is nasty.
Top 5 offense.
Yes.
if this
Yes.
pick actually happens.
Definitely.
Top 5 offense if this pick happens, and if they don't
Top
get,
3.
I wouldn't say top 3 yet, but I'm not going to disagree with you. But it's a top 5 offense, and
2
if they
running backs, 2
somehow
wide receivers, the
Yeah, I mean,
quarterback.
if they
dangerous.
somehow don't at least get to the NFC Conference Championship game, then I think you need to start thinking about who's running this team.
Wow.
The big question is health. Freeman concussions like crazy all season.
See, well, that's what I'm saying. Even with the health, you still got more weapons to go to. Like it's like you got.
Coleman did a pretty good job last year taking up.
If a bullet jams in the slot, you got another one on the outside. It's all good.
All healthy. This pick will make the Atlanta Falcons a huge threat.
Super Bowl favorite, in my opinion.
I don't know if I would go that far, just because I still have concerns on their defensive side of the ball.
I would say not Super Bowl favorite. Also, I would say you want to see where Des Bryant lands.
But I will, yeah, and then I will.
That's a huge
And then I
factor.
will, but I will tell you this: you're gonna have to outscore them.
Oh God,
Yeah,
yes.
it is,
Who?
and I'm not trying to just, but
It's
as a
gonna be
guy
Madden on rookie
who
level.
was the Packers a few years ago were like that. They were all offense.
I know this is therapy for you, bro.
It's a little bit rough for me, man. It's a little bit rough for me.
Because you keep mentioning the Packers and you keep mentioning the Giants. It's okay. We're here for you.
Well, look, I appreciate you being here for me, but I'm just saying in general, though, you look at it when Aaron Rodgers and those teams were balling out,
Yeah.
and they were all offense, because there was a lot of times they would go up with 28-point leads and lose the lead because their defense would hurt them, and that's the same thing that could happen to this Atlanta Falcons team if they get really at this point, because they could be really dangerous offensively, but their defense could hurt them.
Sorry,
All Atlanta fans. This is not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either,
It's
but
gonna
it
be
would be
gone
great.
by.
It would be great for Atlanta fans.
Now, bro, to your Saints pick, sir.
All right, so New Orleans Saints here shocked the world last year, in my opinion, because I had the Saints finishing last year before the season started. I just didn't think defensively they were ready. I thought they made some good picks during that draft last year. Lattimore, obviously, Rookie of the Year. You go, and I know offensively, you picked up Kamara in the 3rd round, another steal, and you got both the offensive and rookie.
What's that over there? Okay. Oh, Diggs is still running.
You know what? I can't deal with this. So, but you look at that and you see those two things, and I just love what the Saints did last year, because no one thought they were going to be this good. Now they got to capitalize off of it. They signed Drew Brees. They got him back for a little bit longer, but they eventually they haven't drafted quarterback because they like Taysom Hill. They think Taysom Hill, which Green Bay is going to regret letting him go, because the kids out there are playing special teams, cracking heads as a backup quarterback. He will be something special there, I think, in the future. But with this pick, they kind of he needs a security blanket. He's got some really good pieces in Michael Thomas. Of course, he's got Kamara. But why not go ahead and get your security blanket here? And I go with tight end Hayden Hurst from South Carolina. Kid's 25 years old. That's the only really knock on him. But you look at everything else, he can catch the ball great in the open field. He can break tackles. He's very tough. He's very good after the catch, and I think he could be a really solid young weapon there for Drew Brees and the future quarterback, whoever that may be.
Drew Brees makes weapons out of players.
Agreed.
I mean, you can't argue. I can't remember his name, but who's that? Their wide receiver they picked up in the 7th round, I think, from Tulane.
Colston.
Yeah.
Marcus Colston.
Yeah.
Did anyone see him become like
No,
a
not at all.
1,000-yard
But
receiver?
Colston was pretty good. I think
He was solid.
I think he dropped a little bit
He
too
was
far.
solid
Yeah,
though,
but Drew
but
Brees
still,
made
like
him
Drew
better.
Brees made him a lot
Now,
better.
what's your pick's name again?
Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst. What's his last name?
Hurst.
R.I.P. to this pick.
My God.
He ain't nothing but another Escobar coming in the league dropping
No,
passes.
no.
I'm not
No.
a fan. I'm not a fan of Hayden Hurst. I'm just not a fan of him.
You haven't been a fan of any of my picks, Rob.
I mean, I have some.
Let's just be honest with
I
this,
have
bro.
no.
you picked
I
him
had
and not me.
I had a few.
Who?
I had a few.
Who?
I had a few.
You said Baker, you didn't like Baker. The only one you say you like is Chubb. Everybody else is no.
But that's Chubb. Chubb is a great defensive player. But like I said, one guy was running from the cops. Another one is like 380 pounds plus the snacks. I mean, come on, brother. But that's the thing. That's the thing. I think his first year he'll have a little bit of a boom, but then after that, I don't think his career will last that much. Now going to my pick,
Which I'm pretty sure you love.
No, I mean, I love it because of the fact that I think it's smart, just
Right.
like myself. Virginia State University grad, by the way. Anyway, the Pittsburgh Steelers picked Leighton Van Ness, linebacker, Boise State. Let me tell you something. When this young man gets on camera, when you talk about eye test, when you talk about a person that just jumps off your TV screen, especially with the injury they had last year at linebacker, this guy jumps off the screen. He can make tackles in the backfield. I saw a play where the guy caught a screen, was going up the sideline. He just caught him. He caught him. His motor's always running, and I always talk about the importance of having a guy go to a place where it fits. If he went anywhere else, I'd probably been a little skeptical. But going to Pittsburgh, he fits that steel curtain mind frame.
Fits the culture perfectly.
Fits the culture. Being at Boise State, I mean, he's not gonna worry about being cold. It's like minus 20 in Boise. So
And the field is blue.
Yeah, exactly.
I know they already
This is not Young Jesus song. My field is blue. My presence is blue. Whatever. Anyway. So yeah, I love the field, by the way. But no, I think he'll be a great player. I think that he will do great things, and I see a future Pro Bowler for Mr. Vance.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, Rob. You probably think I agree with you, and you know why? Because losing Shazier.
Are you just saying that, sir?
No. I actually agree with you because you know what? Losing Shazier is a pretty big deal. I mean, I hate to see the injury go down to him, and it was a rough thing to see. And I hope that if he does decide to want to come back, I hope he gets a chance to come back. So we're praying for Ryan Shazier out there. But I'm telling you right now, I do like the pick because they're going to need this. They lost another position they can go here will be cornerback. I mean, not cornerback, but a cornerback or a safety here. Because they let go of William Gay, they let go of Mitchell, they let go of some people. So I wouldn't be surprised if they went defensive back in this position because of those reasons. But I love the pick. I can't be.
I'm sure we can all agree defensive side of the ball
Yeah.
is a main focus in this first round.
Yeah, because I mean they're great. They're great.
And I mean, it like you said, it fits the culture perfectly because you're thinking about Pittsburgh, and what do you think about their defense? It's that tough front seven.
Yeah.
With some bulldogs of defensive linemen playing that 3-4 defense, and just linebackers that will not afraid to get in there and get physical. I think it fits perfectly. Yep. So I 100% agree with Rob here as well.
All right, so now we head to number 29. We're almost there. Jacksonville Jaguars, Jay's final pick of the draft. And once again, Jay, tell your brother Denny we love him, and we're praying for him, man. We hope that he pulls through. I know know you wanted to be here, man, but this one is for Denny, and this is for his family, his sons, his wife. Your mom, dad. We love you guys. Praying for you. Hope everything continues to go well. But with this pick, Jacksonville will select James Washington from Oklahoma. The wide receiver is dangerous, and they lost two of their big time receivers. They lost Robinson to Chicago. They lost Hearns to Dallas.
They lost the law firm of Allen and Allen.
Yes, they lost the law firm of Allen and Allen. They got to get a receiver here, right? They almost have to because. Even though they have Blake Bortles throwing in the football, and Jay likes to make fun of me because he's the only one that likes Blake Bortles. Look, I'm an optimistic guy, man. You know why I'm a legacy maker, legacy builder for a reason. It's because I want to see people do well. So even though but even though with all that being said, Blake didn't have the greatest year last year, but he wasn't bad. I'm surprised that they signed him for a long-term deal because I probably wouldn't have done it. But they did it. But he's going to need somebody to throw the ball to. They got Fournette and running back, and he's a monster. That line has gotten a lot better, and their defense is their defense.
You
that thing is a stud.
You said James Washington went where?
Oklahoma State. My fault.
Oh, you said Oklahoma? Okay, throw me this ball real quick.
Where are we throwing the ball to?
Just throw it right here. Throw it right here. You dropped the ball, sir.
You know what? Get out of here. Take the camera off of him. Take the camera off of him.
You never say that.
Take the ball off.
You never say that an Oklahoma wide receiver went to Oklahoma State or vice versa. Now, this pick right here, absolutely, Jeremiah, we love you, brother, but this is a bad pick. It's not a good pick at all. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
So who would you go here, Rob?
Well,
Jacksonville.
In this spot, Jacksonville. I probably would have gone. Possibly offensive lineman, whoever was available right there. But I possibly would go offensive lineman. But this spot wide receiver, I just don't think it's a good pick. I think it's one of those Mike Williams type picks, and we all know how that went. He had like 100. I mean, he had like 189 career receptions. So it's like one of those Mike Williams picks. It's kind of nasty. You don't want to do that.
All right, so let's go ahead and switch over, Russ.
Well, to that point, I wouldn't say I like the pick itself. I like the position. I think the wide receiver is what they need on offense the most outside of offensive line. I think their offensive line is still together at the most.
For the most part, yeah.
But losing their top two receivers, I feel like this is it's a no-brainer.
Why not go after Dez Bryant?
Well, I mean, they still
It's a
could. They still have
possibility.
time.
It's a
They still have time.
possibility.
Because
Instead of
does
going
he-
after James Washington.
They
I mean, even the name said, like, I'm James Washington.
Former president of the United States. Look,
It sounds exactly like Rashad Penny. That's exactly what it sounds like.
Sean Penny's better.
well, look, but here's my thing though. Yeah, even if they pick up Dez Bryant, they're still going to need another receiver. They lost 2 solid receivers. They're still going to need another person. And I mean, to me, you have to get a receiver here.
They need 4,
I mean,
5, 6,
yeah,
7
I mean,
receivers.
They need something. They need a playmaker there.
All right, so we'll go to Russ now. Russ,
Russell, do you got those Vikings taking?
Yeah, Vikings, and I'll be honest, I don't think this is going to happen. But once again, I'm picking out a situation who felt like I picked Calvin Ridley for the Falcons. They need to replace the 4,000-year-old Terrence Newman. Thank God. I mean, God bless him. He lasted as long as
4,000.
he lasted as long as he could. He really
somebody
tried, but he
big
wore them tires to the bone. So I believe
he's
they.
about as old as Snyder is at Kansas State right now.
I mean,
Yes,
he's been there. He's probably been there since the Stone Age. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I believe the Vikings get one of the luckiest falls in the draft, and they pick Josh Jackson, a cornerback out of Iowa. I know you love this. I know you love this pick. I know you love this pick.
Well, Russ, let me tell you why I love this pick. And we've talked about it. I think we've all talked about this before. The Minnesota Vikings are in a prime position right now. Yes, they got Kirk Cousins. I still think they should have kept Case Keenum. That's just my opinion. I think they could have got probably the same production.
I think they should have gotten rid of all 3 of
I
them.
think they could have got the same production for cheaper. Here's my thing, though.
Breaking news. Kirk Cousins just threw another interception.
You know what? I can't. But here's my thing. You look at what their defense is set up like. Eventually, and we talked about this on Mike's show last week, they're going to get to the point that they're the Seattle Seahawks. They had to sign Kendricks this week to that, 5-year, $55 million extension or something like that, Eric Kendricks. It's going to get to the point that they're not going to have not enough money to pass along with all these defensive stars. Yeah. They've got so many good players that eventually it's gonna drop on them. So they're gonna have to go and start, either grabbing new talent and Rose is out there. You say Terrence Newman, all those guys, Harrison Smith. It's going to get to a point they're going to have to find a way to continue to keep that defense young and healthy, because eventually they're going to want to go and they got to have that next man up.
Speaking of Kendricks, wasn't he the guy that made Aaron Rodgers' shoulder go on the ground?
No, that would be Anthony Barr, sir.
Anthony Barr?
He would know.
I just want to make sure. I didn't want to revisit that for you.
But why would you bring it up then, Rob? I mean, you obviously didn't want to revisit it, but you want to get my blood boiling. I'm a very calm guy, Rob. I don't want to talk about this. We got a Vikings man behind the camera. I can't.
We got Rob. I will say, though, against my own pick, he didn't run the best 40 time. He ran like a 4.5 40 time. Mm-hmm. And for a corner, especially in that division, God bless you guys if you get Dez Bryant. He's going to need to be able to keep up a little bit better. So, to be honest, I would like to, if in the future, I'd like to see him put on maybe like another 10, 15 pounds of muscle and switch to safety, to be honest. I think he could be built for safety as well, but not at a 192 frame.
Yeah, well,
all right.
The way I look at it is, I think he'll be a corner. I think there have been some experts in our group that said he should be a safety. He'll be a corner. Now,
I'm just saying.
Going to my man Darrell. Now, going to my man Darrell and his.
So look, let me go ahead and give you my last pick that Rob will absolutely hate, and that's fine because right now, let's see, at 8 picks, I am 8 picks, so I'm 6 for 7. Rob hating 6 of them, only liking 1. So let me go ahead and make it 7 for 8. I think that the New England Patriots here, if there's not a quarterback available, if they don't go offensive line at this point, or if they don't, go and get a linebacker, maybe like a Rashad Evans that I know that you like from Alabama, maybe a guy like that. But I think losing Amendola, you start to think, okay, maybe I go offensive rep in here, and if you got Christian Kirk here, and Cook's gone. Yeah. I think you go receiver here, and I think, with who's left on the board, you got to go with Christian Kirk. I mean, because he could be he could be a slot receiver if they go get Dez Bryant, since he's the hot topic right now. If they decide to go make that move or go elsewhere, Christian Kirk could be an excellent slot receiver here. He's just got the build. I think he's got a Steve Smith build. Not calling him Steve Smith, but I think he's got a Steve Smith build, and he's got some attributes that could end up being really special.
Am I the only one here that doesn't like Steve Smith? Because I'll be honest.
That's because you're thinking about the New York Giants.
I'm not getting confused. That's Steve Smith. I can't trust a wide receiver anybody that good. He may be good, but I can't trust a wide receiver under 5'10".
Just
I
can't.
just can't. I can't. It's something personal.
I feel that way. I feel that way about Cobb sometimes.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah. But you got a better quarterback. So.
Touche. All right, so now that's my pick. And now let's go to number 32.
Hold on. It is an absolute. You know what? I hope it's successful for you. It's not, but I hope it's successful for you.
Of course you don't believe it's successful. Let's go to number 32 and the defending Super Bowl champions. We're going to say it out loud one more time because who thought it would have happened? I'm sorry, close your ears. I'm sorry. Defending Super Bowl champion.
You done yet?
Philadelphia
Yes.
Eagles.
Thank you.
Picking at number 32 for the first time ever. Unless, when the team's a little bit shorter and they go up higher. Maybe. But as a Super Bowl
We
champion.
never had to wait this long.
The Philadelphia.
You done yet?
I'm almost done. Give me a little bit more. This Philadelphia Eagles team, the world champions, and
Oh man.
and no, it just makes you smile, right? So where, Mr. Robb Johnson,
Well,
do you have the Philadelphia Eagles?
I will
take?
say this. It's the first time of everything. The first time is always the greatest, and who knows, it may never happen again. But anyway, and I'm just being real because, like I said,
All I wanted was one before I died, and I got it.
I'm set.
I got it.
the way the cap situation going right now may be the only one for a couple of years. But
That's not much.
I have no issue with the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said, I'm a journalist first, fan second. So let's get this going. I have Dallas Goedert, tight end, South Dakota State. And before I start getting flack, 2016, 92 catches. 2017, 72 catches. He had 92 in 2016, 72 in 2017. This guy is 6'5", 255. You put him with Zach Ertz. They have running backs already. They can get other running backs later in this draft. The Eagles, with this tight end and with that quarterback, Carson Wentz, staying intact,
Or Nick
not being Humpty Dumpty, and and staying together, the Eagles will be fine for the next, I believe, 3 to 4 years because this guy, along with Ertz, along with the receivers they have, will bring some consistency. I personally think if they get him, the NFC should look out, like I said, for the next couple of years, and there's a possibility the Eagles could win another title. You not only could have this guy as a tight end, you can split this guy out. He makes the tough catches. In fact, if I'm comparing him to anybody, in my opinion, he's definitely not as fast. But as far as going up and getting the ball at a point, I think there's a guy in San Diego that I think that he could compare to.
Wow, that's some pretty high praise you got there, buddy.
I'm talking about going up and getting the ball at a point.
You talking about Hunter Henry or
I'm talking. I see a combination of Kelsey and Antonio Gates.
Wow.
And I believe this guy will do great things, and he will not be in a hearse.
So for me personally,
Hurst alone.
I told you before the show I don't like the pick.
Of course you don't.
I don't like the pick. I think the Eagles
Brown
need.
helping- I mean,
I think the
Mike is
Eagles
helping me
need.
out here.
Yeah, the Eagles need to go running back here. You have Jay Ajayi coming up on a contract year, and you only have really Corey Clement to back him up with Darren Sproles not re-signing.
Right.
And he may. We'll see how that goes. But I think tight end is the wrong position here. If you say you can get running back deeper in the draft, for the Eagles, they're going to have to wait till at least the 4th round because they don't have a 2nd round pick.
Oh, yeah, they got
Well, I mean, I'm just saying there was a guy named I'm trying to remember. There was a guy from New Orleans last year that did pretty well. He was picked late. I mean, there have been other running backs that have been picked
Like
late.
you said, it could happen. But I'm not willing to take that chance.
I believe
I would like the Eagles in this position to trade out the 1st round.
I believe the Eagles
that
are
would be fine.
to gain
for
some
me.
more picks.
I believe
yes.
the Eagles are good scouters. That's why I'm saying that. Now, let's say this was the Buffalo Bills, or let's say this was some other team that hasn't scouted well. The Eagles scout pretty well, so that's what I'm giving to them.
Dolphins, yeah,
There
but
you go.
like I said, I disagree with Rob, like I've pretty much been doing all night. I it's nothing personal. I just don't think the Eagles
So
should
you're
go tight
7
end.
for 8 with Rob, just like I'm 7.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think they
vice
should
versa.
go running back. And I think in this position, with the way this mock draft has played out, you can't pass up Darius Geis.
I was going to say the same thing.
There's no
In this
way.
situation, Darius Geis, or even if they somehow want Sonny Michael, you still get a good running back that could
Nice
make your
pick
team
up here.
better.
Well, I'm a fan of Sonny Michael. I just don't think it's the right spot. And like I said, if it had been early in the draft, I probably would have put Sonny Michael earlier. But I just don't think it's the right spot. Now, if you're asking me, I think of Nick Chubb. Now, I was torn. I was either going to go Chubb or I was either going to go here. Who knows? The Eagles could always move up and early in the 2nd round.
I mean, I feel like they would have a better chance, like Mike said, to trade back and get a second or third round pick. I feel like that'd be better. You know, that's where the meat, at least I believe personally, that's where the meat of your team is built.
And especially based off this mock draft right here, I would love for them to move back and be able to get a running back.
Well, when this guy is dominating, he doesn't go to Eagles and he's tearing you up. I don't want to hear him. I don't want to hear any mess.
Catch it,
Hey, Russ, throw me the ball, Russ. Throw me the ball.
I'll say though, if he's dominating the Eagles, I'll cook you a steak dinner.
Hey, throw me the ball. Throw me the ball.
I'll make a million steak.
Hey, throw it to me one
hate
time.
is real.
You know what you're going to be seeing all day? You're going to be seeing this when he gets to the league. Touchdown. Let's go hard.
That's fine. We have a pretty good tight end in Zach Ertz.
See, I would agree with that as well.
But there's a
I know that for sure
combination.
because he's
Why
on my
not
fantasy
combine
team.
them? Listen,
We don't run a 2 tight end set.
They don't.
We don't.
I understand, but what I'm saying is, if you get a guy like that, I mean, you have to make concessions for that type of thing. You know,
I don't want to change up offense or anything like that.
To argue that, I don't think you change your offense for the last pick of the first round. You change your offense maybe for the first pick of the first round, but you don't change your offense for the last pick.
I mean,
not for you don't change your offense.
I mean, it's over now. I mean, are you still dabbling in the past? It's over.
Hey, until
It's
officially
over.
eliminated next year,
I mean,
right?
we've already seen the parade, the drunkenness, and all that. It's over with.
Ty was there.
New season.
Man, I got stabbed.
New season.
Philadelphia
new
style,
season.
baby.
You never know. Like I said, Zach Ertz has had some injury issues in the past. I just think it'll be a great pick. That's just my opinion. He'll be a great pick. All right.
Still help me get to fantasy playoffs.
Exactly.
I'll say
so
that.
So
Still
now,
help me get to
can
fantasy
we go
playoffs.
on to our other things?
All right, y'all. So look, we have officially completed our 32.
Don't forget them.
No, I got him. I appreciate you.
I know Mike
We
will.
have officially completed our 32. You will be able to get we will post this 32 probably later on tonight. If not, we'll have it tomorrow, so that way you'll be able to see our 32 picks in this draft. Now, of course, you'll be able to catch all of this updated smooth style on YouTube a little bit later. But now let's head back over to Ty and Mike for one of our last segments.
Well, a lot of our questions has already been touched on. So I'm going to open this panel up to all of us.
Okay.
I got a couple questions for all of us. Who do you guys think is the sleeper out of this whole entire first round?
In the first round?
In the first round.
You mean the entire draft? Or just the first?
Just the first round.
Just the first round. Well,
That's a good one.
Let me check the tapes.
Take your time.
Well,
He was drafted high, but it's hard to pick a sleeper in the first round because he was drafted. They're all drafted pretty high. And surprisingly, it's somebody Rob picked. And that's
he's agreeing with you.
I mean, that's not surprising.
he's gonna be drafted high. He's gonna be. So I don't even know if this is considered a sleeper, but I really like Tremaine Edmonds a lot. I think that he's gonna have a great career, and I think he's gonna have an impact immediately, especially if he's drafted to the Bears. As this mock draft is played out. But anywhere that he is drafted to whatever team in the first round, he's going to make an immediate impact.
Looking at it, I think that Hurst will be sleeping. He won't make an impact.
You gotta leave Hurst alone, man.
All right,
Come on, man.
but getting serious. As far as a guy that everybody looks at, I really think that Quentin Nelson could change things for Indianapolis. Indianapolis is one of my teams that I believe needs to get this draft right. So they got to get this pick right, and I believe that a lot of people aren't really talking about him too much because he's an offensive lineman, but I think it will be a great addition for the Indianapolis Colts.
I talk about him all day. I love Frenchman up front.
I think Quentin Nelson, in my opinion, is the safest prospect in this draft.
I'd say he's the most valuable.
I would say I would say safest and valuable because I think you cannot. Unless barring injury, you can't go wrong with this guy. There's no way.
He's got great leadership qualities. He knows how to play in as the guard of a team. He knows how to lead that team.
He's strong. I mean, this guy is just huge, and it's not fat; it's muscle.
Oh, it's muscle. I can tell you that.
Like,
that is
I'm serious.
Well,
6'5", 329 pounds of straight muscle.
Mr. Montgomery, you're asking all the questions. I mean, but it seems like everybody told me I was wrong is agreeing with what I'm saying. So what's going on here, Mr. Montgomery?
Oh well, if you want to,
Everybody's agreeing with me. Everybody's agreeing.
If you want to disagree, I'd say my sleeper pick again. He drafted high. I think in my personal draft, I have him going number 7 to the Bucks, but I think Denzel Ward is my sleeper pick. I love a physical safety. God bless Ike Hilliard and Brian Dawkins. I give another shout out to the Eagles. I love a physical safety, and watching Brian Dawkins play all those years, a Hall of Fame career. Hopefully they'll fix it. But
They did. He got inducted this year.
he did. Okay, cool.
Should have been first ballot, but that's my
Agreed.
opinion.
But a physical safety is something I love to watch almost as much as a good lineman. And I think Denzel Ward, in wherever he goes, like I said, I believe he should go to Tampa Bay. But I think he's a sleeper himself, getting past Tampa Bay.
As I comb over this and look, there's one. I almost picked him. Thank you, appreciate it. I almost picked him as my, and we're going to go to that segment. Let's almost picked him as my overall sleeper in this draft. But since you've picked him in the first round, I got to go with Anthony Miller because I like. Listen, hear me out. I like what he does. And the comparison to Brandon Cook is exactly right. He's tough. He's physical. I like what he could bring to a team. And the Ravens need receiver help bad. I mean, they need help bad. So for me, I would actually go Robb's pick here, and I would say Anthony Miller. He would be, in my opinion, for what he, where he probably will go in the draft, which a lot of people think he made late first, maybe early second, or mid second. I would say him.
Quote the Rob, nevermore.
Steals, Rob, sleepers in the draft. So we're trying to.
It was you disagreeing with his pick, not him disagreeing with
That's
his
what I'm
pick.
saying.
It's
Like,
the other way around.
I have no recollection of that.
Of course, don't worry. Check the tapes. All right. So now, Ty, did you have anything else, my friend?
Y'all are done.
All right. So look, here we go. We got our last segment, ladies and gentlemen, and pretty much what we just talked about sleepers, but we're doing overall draft sleepers, and we're going to talk about the two teams that must win this draft. They just have to win this draft or have a great draft in regards. So let's go ahead and go with your sleepers. Russ, who are your two sleepers in this draft that people have to watch out for?
My two sleepers on offense, I have Jake Weineke, wide receiver out of South Dakota State. If you want a value pick in the late rounds, I want to say he should, in my opinion, he should be projected maybe third, fourth, if that. If you want a value pick at wide receiver, look no further than Jake Weineke. I mean, you had his college teammate, Dallas Gohart, had his college rival, his teammate going 32nd in the draft. I believe he should be somewhere, like I said, no later than the third round pick. Caught 59 touchdown catches in his college football career. Even for South Dakota State, that's still pretty impressive.
My point for me, sir. Thank you very much.
I mean, I'm quoting you on my player. I'm just saying. I'm not talking about Dallas Goedert. I'm talking about Jake Weineke. I think he's something that you need to watch out for in the mid-round, day 3 pick. Just a wide receiver that's very great value, good size, about 6'1", about 195, I want to say. But that's my offensive sleeper. On defense, and I actually had to look up where this school was because I'd never heard of this school.
I know. Look, when you sent me the information, I had to go take a second look myself.
I don't know.
I've never
his
heard
name
of this.
jumped out to me for some reason because I saw him go from projected 6th round pick when I first heard his name to now a projected 3rd round pick. I think. And I think that jump from as a defensive lineman is very impressive. Something you need to keep your eye on. And his name is Nathan Shepard, the defensive tackle out of Fort Hays State.
Fort Hays State.
I'll give someone
Where
$1.
is that?
I'll give someone $1 right now if they can tell me where
Which
that
state?
is.
Which state it is?
Without pulling out.
Are we just doing states?
With state?
Take a guess.
Let's do South Dakota.
Nope.
Man, this is tough. East
know
Coast
my
or West Coast?
I ain't
No,
even
no,
know
I ain't telling you that.
I ain't
Ain't
even-
giving no
you know
clues.
what? It's in the continental United States. So
Good job, buddy.
Hawaii, right?
It's in Indiana.
Nope.
Kentucky.
Texas.
Nope. It is in Kansas, my ladies and gentlemen.
Really?
Fort Hays State is in
That was my
Kansas.
second. That was my third choice. I'm a third
So
choice.
for, like I said, almost a no-name school. But like I said, he made from a 6th round pick projected to a 3rd round pick. Had I think about 17 tackles for loss last year. 6 foot, 350 pounds senior. So he's been there developing his skill, his craft, and he may be a little bit of a project as a 3rd round pick, but I think he can definitely cause some panic and make pressure from the point.
So how do you get to school every day, huh? Yellow Brick Road?
I don't know. 'Cause I'll be honest though, he's from Canada. He's from Canada, so I don't know how he found Fort Hays State in Ontario.
Oh, they
Canada.
found him.
They must have been reaching
went
out
looking
trying
for
to
him.
develop their football.
We got to
program,
find
but-
somebody.
Like,
That's
but
in Canada.
he's from Canada, so he's okay with the cold. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to like a 4th round pick, maybe the Steelers. I'll throw that out there just because I'm thinking a cold weather team that could use that wouldn't mind some help up front.
He smells a patriot to me. That just
I mean, he could work there
he
too.
smells a patriot to me.
Yeah, well,
Mr. Robb Johnson.
all right, so can I go ahead and do my sleeper and my
Why not, sir?
Yep, I'm going to do my sleepers. I'm just going to go ahead and finish. I'm going to do my sleepers and my teams that need to get it right. My first sleeper is Desmond Harrison I showed you, when we were doing our show, I actually showed you highlights of this young man. He's 6'8", he went to Texas for a little bit, got in some trouble, et cetera, but I think he's cleaned things up. 6'8", like 285, he's big. When we saw them play Virginia State, he absolutely was mauling folks. Now, I have a little concern going to the next level, but I think with the right coaching, with the right support system, I believe he could be very good. Next, I have Chad Thomas, defensive tackle, University of Miami. He's very good, in my opinion. He can go to a team, be one of those utility players that comes in pass rush situations. He's not by any means going to be a Pro Bowler, I don't think, but he'll be one of those guys who can maybe get you 3, maybe 4 sacks a year, and he'll be able to, he'll be able to get your linebackers in good position and help out your secondary. So I could definitely see him going to maybe a Seattle. And when you talk about my teams that need to absolutely have a great draft, it's very simple. Indianapolis Colts. They got lucky with Peyton Manning. They hit the jackpot twice with Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. Sometimes when you hit the jackpot, you get a little lazy. They've been a little lazy, in my opinion, on the offensive line and other things. The Indianapolis Colts have got to get it right. If they don't get it right, Jim Irsay is going to be playing the guitar somewhere, sometime soon. So, my second team, they've won a Super Bowl. They've won a Super Bowl twice in the last, let's say, 10 years. But the New York Football Giants must get it right. They need to decide what they want to do. They need to decide, do they want to get Eli Manning in there? Do they not want to get Eli Manning? Do they want to bring in a running back? Do they not? Do they want to get the offensive line straight? Do they not? Do they want to tolerate Odell Beckham when he's just out there having a good time, just doing his thing? What? New York Giants, Indianapolis Colts. Can we see the camera, sir? Indianapolis Colts, New York Giants. Get it together.
I agree.
I bet you do.
I mean, even as a Giants fan, I agree. But I think for them to get it right, they need to trade out of that number 2 pick. I don't think
go back.
even because I would love for them. God help them. I would love for them to maybe, if Denver's desperate enough, trade up to the number 2 pick so they can fall back and pick up Quentin Nelson and get an extra second or first round pick. That would be my favorite player for them to pick.
I think for the Giants, Quentin Nelson or Bradley Chubb would be really 2 good picks.
But I say they're reaching at number 2 for both.
Oh, absolutely. You would have to trade back for
out of
those
that number 2 pick.
I can't reach you.
Oh, see,
I reached Mike. Couldn't reach you.
I got pretty long arms, but I'm still reaching for the picks. You know what I'm saying?
Now, with that being said, one thing I will add on to your coach situation, I agree with that. They traded back with traded with the Jets. They picked up all these picks. They got 2 second-round picks. They got this, and the word came out today that they're looking to trade back again, and probably trying to whisper out there to those teams with 2 picks, the Patriots and the Bills, and say, hey, come on up and take this spot. We'll take those 2 picks and continue to add on that team. So I like that. That's something they're definitely going to have to do on that front. So I definitely agree there. Now here's Jay's picks, and then I'll do mine. Jay has 2 people. One on offense. He got DJ Clark, wide receiver from LSU. He thinks that he's Odell Beckham. He's got potential to be Odell Beckham, but with a little bit more of a what's the word I want to say? A little bit more of.
Does he have the rough sponge on the top of his head?
I don't know if he's got the rough sponge on that, but he could be Odell Beckham. But he thinks that he also, with him, possibly being Odell Beckham, he didn't have a quarterback when he was in LSU, and so he thinks that if he gets the right quarterback, he could spark.
DJ Chark is good, but I would never put him and Odell Beckham in the same name.
I would put him on.
Chark is good, but no.
Maybe Landry.
Yeah, I was about to
maybe
say
more
Landry.
like Landry.
A poor man's Landry. Poor man.
I don't even think Landry's that good, but whatever.
Yeah. I don't know why you say that. And then on defense, he's got Cameron Kelly, defensive back from San Diego. The guy is a stud. If you haven't watched him, I mean, he is phenomenal. I watched some highlight tape on him. So Cameron Kelly, defensive back, San Diego State. Teammates with Rashad Penny down there in San Diego State. Now, for me, I went with 2 guys. I did looked at some mock drafts. My defensive guy in 1 draft or 2 drafts, they had him the very last pick of the draft. But the guy, he's 5'11", but he's a tackling machine. He's got a really bulky frame for his size. Kind of reminds me of a healthy Bob Sanders. You know how Bob Sanders' body structure was. He reminds me of that, and that's Jeremy Reeves from South Alabama. Watching him move from side to sideline, making tackles, making plays, he can intercept the ball well. He's great as a great defender. Jeremy Reeves is going to be a stud for somebody in the NFL. And at receiver, I got Corey Robinson from Southern Miss. Some people compare him to Anquan Bolden. I'm not going to per se, give him the Anquan Bolden treatment because Anquan Bolden is a special type of guy. But what I did see on film when it comes to his ability to catch the football, his ability to, go and yards after the catch, I mean, you name it. I mean, he's very strong. He's very physical. And the yak was the most important thing for me. He could be a really solid receiver for some team, in the third, fourth round. I see Corey Robinson for Southern Miss being my receiver.
I completely respect your picks.
Oh,
but,
no, you don't.
But
you pick against them every time. There is no way that you respect my picks. You can't.
Listen.
Remember, it's a sleeper pick.
Listen,
it's a sleeper pick.
I understand, but you knew
it's a sleeper pick.
You
Rob.
knew what you were doing when you had me behind you. You knew what you were
I
doing.
knew what I was doing, but I also know that you can't say it's a sleeper pick. Rob.
I understand.
Do you understand?
I understand.
Rob? I don't think you
I
do.
understand. But
there's no way.
Darrell, you brought up the names Bob Sanders and Anquan Bolden. Listen.
Have you watched them?
Have
you watched them?
I have. But here's the thing. Unless you're Bob Sanders was willing to break his body. And unless you're willing to have your face broken like Anquan
That's
Bolden,
why he was injured all the time.
I can't really.
I said Bob Sanders without the injuries. That means he's smarter. Maybe a little bit smarter than Mr. Bob Sanders. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know how smart Bob Sanders was because he did break.
That's what I'm saying. He's a little bit smarter than Bob Sanders.
It was just my opinion. I was just saying. You bring up those names. Those names are very important to me.
I see.
Those names are very, very important.
I see.
I'm a big time Bob Sanders fan.
What am I, 9 for 10 right now?
And I absolutely
don't even like my sleepers.
And I
they're sleeper picks.
And I
Rob.
absolutely love Anquan Bolden coming out of Florida
They're
State.
sleeper picks.
Where he was.
They're sleepers.
Listen, let me tell you something. Anquan Bolden,
sleepers.
Anquan Bolden at Florida State. He was the quarterback, the wide receiver, the punter, the kicker. He played defensive. He even mopped the floors. Anquan Bolden did everything in Florida State. And when he went to the league, he had his face broken, and he still came back. So let me tell you something. If you're going to mention them names, sir, especially a name like Bob Sanders, make sure I'm just saying. But I respect it, though.
I will not shake your hand because you don't respect me. 9 for 10. You said 9 times you didn't like my people. Even the sleepers. Come on, man.
They're asleep.
I can't.
That's why me and Jay put you in front of him.
That's exactly why you and Jay put him in front of me.
Me and Jay had a
But you know what, though?
Game.
I still love this man regardless. I love him like a fat kid loves cake. Now, my teams.
I like cake, but it's okay.
My teams that I think have to
I like
find
salad.
You like salad? Green salad.
A good chef salad. Not too bad.
Anyway.
But my teams I feel like have to win. Arizona is one of my teams because I feel like they got to get the quarterback situation right. With David Johnson there, if he can stay healthy this year and be the back that he was 2 years ago, he could be phenomenal there. Larry Fitzgerald is getting close to the end. He's gonna make some big time moves. He's gonna break some records. He's gonna be phenomenal. He's a